Welcome into the latest edition of ESPN FC. I'm Dan Thomas, joined by Shaq Hislop, Craig Burley and Frank LeBeuf. We start in the Premier League. 2 points dropped, certainly for Chelsea, as they could only manage a 2-2 draw against Burnley. They fell behind early, but then goals from Kante and Higuain gave Chelsea the lead. But Barnes got the equaliser in the first half, and Chelsea didn't respond. It's a huge blow for Sarri's side, Craig, and their aspirations to finish in the top four, because when we looked, of course, a lot at their running, this was a three-point banker. But they just didn't turn up. That second half performance, they didn't get it done.
Well, particularly after Man United's performance at Goodison and Arsenal's performance at home against Crystal Palace. It was a perfect opportunity to go and say, listen, they're almost handing it to us in a play. We need to go out, perform at home against a team that are in the bottom half of the table, that were still fighting for survival, albeit mathematically, and go and do the job. And one of the things you've got to do when you're playing Burnley, particularly when they're playing with Wood and Barnes in the team, is you've got to be able to handle set pieces, crosses into the box. And they didn't, and ultimately that's what cost them.
What went wrong, Frank? Why couldn't they respond then in that second half?
I think they were absolutely ready, psychologically talking.
Right.
Where you know you play Burnley, you think you're gonna the chances for you. You are very fortunate because, as you said, Manchester United and Arsenal had a bad result. So you say, okay, it's all for us. It's gonna be easy to beat Burnley. You concede a goal, but you react very quickly. You lead the game with Higuain's goal. You say, okay, it's done. Then, bam, they equalize, and you're not ready psychologically to fight. When you play in England, when you sign for an English team, you have to know that, especially at the end of the season, nobody is going to surrender as the French people did at some point. They're going to fight until death, you know what I mean? It was just a joke, by the way.
Sorry, I don't know this gentleman here.
Before HR come in, Shaq, you take a look at Hudson-Odoi, obviously injured. Kante off at half-time. That clearly impacted Chelsea going forward.
I thought both of those were two huge blows, in particular Hudson-Odoi, who I feel when he's on the pitch, that's when you see the best of Eden Hazard. They have a foil, they have somebody else to carry the load, or be it on the other flank. Once he goes off, the only real threat is Eden Hazard. And Burnley know that, and they know you just have to put numbers around him and then defend as they've done all season long with a certain amount of discipline. Because nobody else is going to threaten you. And what you saw from Chelsea in the second half, without Hudson-Odoi and Kante with his late runs, is what we've seen from Chelsea 6 weeks ago, when we were so critical of them.
Yeah.
Fantastic football, but not really troubling Burnley in a way that you would think a team that are pushing for a top four finish and looking to get into the Europa League final should, against a team who just about secured survival in the Premier League.
That's a good point, Shaq. I mean, the trouble with Chelsea is the plan A, B and C is get the ball to Eden Hazard. And when A fails, it's get the ball to Eden Hazard. And when that fails, it's still the same, get the ball to Eden Hazard. And everybody's sort of waiting on this guy who has had a good season, but is carrying so much weight on his shoulders of quite a few that haven't performed consistently. And it's, I mean, he's not Messi, you know what I mean? He's not like, he's a great player, very good player, but you can't rely on him to get, you know, the 40 goals a season or do it, you know. So others have to take, you know, take control and take responsibility. And I just think, as Shaq said, too often it's like, he'll dig us out the hole or he'll dig us out a result. And today's game proved that that's not always going to be the case.
We'll talk about his future at Chelsea a little later on. But where do you stand on Sarri overall, Frank? Obviously, today's a blow regarding top four. Does it matter for you if he finishes top four or win the Europa League? Does he still deserve another season?
I'm not the one who's going to decide for that.
But if you were?
I'm disappointed. Yeah, of course I'm disappointed. I said in another show from France that Chelsea is going onto Italian coaches, you know, for decades. And I wonder when they're going to try maybe something else, but to see maybe something, another football.
Conte won the title, Frank.
Yeah, of course, and it works. And Di Matteo won the Champions League, and Ancelotti, they're all fantastic. But I think you want to...
You want a French coach?
No, that's not true. No, it's not true. No. Even in France, we don't want French coach. Can you imagine? No, in order to understand the English football, you have to understand also the culture. And I think if you are an Anglo-Saxon, if you have an Anglo-Saxon culture, you will be, I think, a better coach in an English club. And I think at some point there is a lack of understanding of the football from Sarri, but from others, and it's why sometimes they miss the step.
To answer your question, from my end, does he deserve the sack if he gets them in the top 4 or Champions League football via the Europa League? I think the answer is no.
Right.
Well, I'm pretty sure the answer is no, to be quite frank. I think that would be harsh. However, that doesn't mean that I'm convinced personally in what he's trying to do, you know, on the field and with the personnel he's got. However, if he did get them into that position, I think, you know, it would be harsh not to give him another 12 months at least.
I agree. Saying that, I think Sarri's been a whole lot better over the last few weeks, where he's introduced Hudson-Odoi and Loftus-Cheek, which, you know, we were questioning why wasn't he when they were doing so well in the Europa League. I think what you've seen over the last few weeks is enough to suggest at least another 12 months.
So the big question now is who is going to finish in the top 4? None of them won, did they? Last 48 hours?
No.
None of them.
Spurs
lost.
lost.
Obviously lost. Chelsea drew. Arsenal lost. United lost. So it's kind of...
Listen, if we drag up that who's remaining to play graphic, I'm going to... I'm going to... Every day, as soon as the sun shines, the sun goes down, and it comes up in the morning, that graphic reappears.
See, you have one less game.
Right, Frank, here's what you have to do. You have to think about something different that you said yesterday.
How about the same graphic?
Now, the thing is, I wonder, you know, if one of these 4 clubs is going to win the Champions League next year. And isn't it better, except the money, with the money, isn't it better that they fight in the Europa League?
No.
Because they have a chance for the fans to get a trophy. What the fans want? They want a trophy.
No, they want Champions League football.
If you don't win a game, if you get out after the group stage,
but who's to say they're not going to win the game? Look what Spurs have done.
If you think about the finances, of course I can understand that all those clubs, they want to go in the Champions League. If you talk just about the sports size of the interest, it's about, you know, can I win something? I'd rather play the Europa League if I have the team to win the Europa League.
No,
if I cannot have the team, I'm sure
or you
I'm
can
not
finish
going to
third in the Champions League and then win it.
Of course, that's another idea.
Everybody's a winner,
But that's
Frank.
nonsense, isn't it? Arsenal would have preferred, say, for example, to finish in the quarterfinals of the Champions League than win the Europa League.
Well, at the end of your career, what is it? I saw Craig Burnley won the FA Cup in '97. We didn't say Craig Burnley played the last 16 of the Champions League. Who cares? At the end of the career, is how many lines you have in your resume. That's the only thing we know. For clubs, it's different. The thought is different because it's about finances. But for a player, it's about titles, about lines.
But for the fans, it's different as well for the players.
For the lines, for the fans, what they want their team to lift a trophy.
No, they would prefer Champions League.
I'm not sure about that.
Definitely.
I'm not sure about that.
Back onto the graphic.
Right?
Yeah. What is the remaining game?
No, back on the graphic, because that result for Chelsea today has now piled added pressure on their trip to Old Trafford.
Yes. Yeah.
Particularly if by a miracle, and it would be at the moment a minor miracle of them putting a performance on. Of them putting a performance. If they were to get something against Manchester City, which looks unlikely, Man United, but it's not impossible, then the Chelsea game now, because of that result against Burnley, just becomes huge, absolutely huge. I think Tottenham are there.
Yeah.
We can take that graphic down to 3 teams next to them.
Right.
At least that'll freshen it up a bit.
You want Tottenham, of course, Tottenham play Brighton tomorrow.
Yeah.
So when we show you tomorrow, Brighton won't be on the graphic.
Listen, I know it's coming out tomorrow. But so ultimately, it's not been a good day for those 3 teams.
No. It's been good for Spurs. Can we take it down?
Well, it was not a disaster. I mean, Spurs played Man City. It wasn't a great weekend for them, but it was a big week for them.
So who have you got finishing in the top 4?
I've got who I had yesterday, which is Tottenham, and still by a narrow margin, Chelsea.
Frank, you want Chelsea to finish in the Europa League spot because they can win it?
No, I really think that it's still going to stay.
He doesn't care as long as they haven't got an Italian coach, he said.
Yeah.
He's had enough. He's had enough.
No, it's going to stay like that.
But what you saw today, did it not concern you?
Of course I'm concerned. But
you've got to beat Burnley at Stamford Bridge.
If I'm a Manchester United fan, I'm really concerned. If I'm an Arsenal fan, I'm concerned. And if I'm a Chelsea fan, I'm concerned. But you ask me, Tottenham, for sure, for me. and after it's going to be between Chelsea and Arsenal. I don't see Manchester United picking up the 4th or the 5th rank. No.
Tottenham, and by a thin margin, I'm sticking with Arsenal.
He's stubborn.
You're sticking with Arsenal.
I am.
You know they lost at the weekend to Crystal Palace at home.
And how did everybody else do?
Well, they...
No, Chelsea drew.
Where's that graphic?
Chelsea drew.
Where's that graphic?
No, but Chelsea did.
I'm sticking with
what you saw
Arsenal.
yesterday. Does that not
I
concern
am
you?
sticking with Arsenal,
Why?
Dan. Because I'm stubborn.
Shaka, that's not
I've had
a reason.
Arsenal for the last few weeks. I'm sticking.
He has the right to be wrong.
He does it very well.
Yeah.
He's made a career
He
out of
believes in it.
Yeah, most
I'm
definitely.
sticking with it.
Right,
Well, we
that's
know
it.
that.
There will be definitely no speculation about Kylian Mbappe going to Real Madrid this summer because he said this weekend, I'm sure to stay. I'm invested here in this project. Good for Madrid that they have Zidane. I will tune in to their matches as an admirer. Going forward, is this a good decision from Mbappe to stay at PSG?
That's the only decision he could have made, you know, in a way that, in fact, he just signed for the club, that it's impossible for Paris Saint-Germain to let Kylian Mbappe go to Madrid. It will show to the fans, it will be a message that we don't want to win the Champions League.
Right.
We are changing our plans and we want to make money over some transfers. And it's impossible. I think they say no to Kylian, don't even think about it. I think they rather sell Neymar than Mbappe. Mbappe represents the future, he's French, he signed for a club that he loves, and he wants to win the Champions League. So they're going to...
Well, he's going to have to leave.
No, maybe not. Maybe within 2 years.
But I'm being serious. At some point, he will leave France.
Yeah, at some point, but not now. You cannot say after the second year that you just started. Remember that Mbappe arrived in the world of football 3 seasons ago. He's just brand new. He's a fantastic player, certainly one of the best players already in the world, but he cannot leave Paris Saint-Germain. It's impossible for the Paris Saint-Germain to let him go. Even for 500 million euros, it's over. The club has no future, has no ambition if they let Mbappe go.
But it's going to happen.
But maybe within 2-3 years, that's different.
Well, I don't think... Look, is he good enough to walk straight into the Real Madrid side with what we've seen?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Guy's won a World Cup, so it doesn't matter how young he is. But I do think having at least another 12 months in France and Paris won't do him any harm. Just to let things settle down at Real Madrid in particular and see what way they're going. But I don't see him staying another 2 or 3 years there unless there's a big turnaround and they do go out and somehow get around this crazy financial fair play and sign X, Y, and Z, and they are more competitive in the Champions League, and they look like they are going to be able to punch a hole in it. But in 15 months' time at the end of next season, I think, if not before, well, I think we'll see Kylian Mbappe, unless they've won the Champions League, looking to make that move.
You play with some incredible players. You take a look at Zidane, you had Zola, obviously, Thierry Henry as well. How good...
Craig Burnley. Don't laugh.
That
Where's the laughing?
That's down. That's down on the...
I wasn't laughing, I was coughing.
I'm glad you said it with tongue-in-cheek, because he was going to say it at some point.
It wasn't even on my mind.
So
How good is Mbappe? How much do you like him?
He's absolutely fantastic. Everything he does and he creates or he tries becomes successful. So he has the maturity already at his age to achieve many things. I think I was calculating yesterday that he already won like 7 trophies, and he just turned 20. But the family alongside him is very close to him, very thoughtful about his career and everything. He knows exactly what he wants to achieve. And so far, his main goal is to get something with Paris Saint-Germain. Of course, it's going to be hard, but do you think with Madrid next year, he's going to be sure to win the Champions League? No. What do you see the season of Madrid? What's going to happen in Madrid? They're going to have to change 10 players. Maybe Paris has to change 6 or 7 players, but it's going to be the same kind of work from Zidane in Madrid. So you don't know what Madrid is going to happen. Of course, it's a big club. Of course, they're going to rebound very soon. But Paris can achieve something. See Manchester City, they've been working hard. They're still looking for the first Champions League. It took like 10 years for Chelsea to win the Champions League.
I suppose the problem with PSG now is that they're labelled, bottlers. You know, this is the second time in which they were completely and utterly in the driving seat against Barcelona and against Manchester United reserves, and they can't get it done.
No, that's true. But I think it's the time for the club to understand that some players who have been good for the club don't have the standard to win the Champions League with that club. So maybe...
But those players should have beaten Manchester United. Those
Of course, that was
a
big mistake, and it's a shame over the head of all the players and the club. That's their own problem. The fans are very disappointed, and that's true. That's a big mistake because they clearly were better than Manchester United. It can happen in football. The problem is those players, they became losers because of the problem with Barcelona, but also the problem with Manchester United. So you have to get rid of those players who brought a certain level, a certain standing to Paris Saint-Germain, but are not able to go to another step, another level to win the Champions League.
So Mbappe not going to Real Madrid. Reports suggesting that there's been a pre-contract signed between Eden Hazard, though, and the club. This makes sense from Real Madrid's point of view, from Hazard's point of view, but from Chelsea's point of view, who, as we go to where, as it stands, can't sign anyone in the summer.
Well,
this is shooting yourself in the foot completely.
As we've seen in the past, you saw Real Madrid do it when they suffered their transfer ban. You saw AC Milan do it. You go through the appeals process, and you hope to drag it out through this window. Now, if this ban comes down and you appeal to the Court of Arbitration of Sport or whatever it may be, it gives you a little bit of time.
What if it doesn't, Shaq? What if they say, no, you can't transfer?
You can appeal. You will be able to appeal, and it's just a matter of how long can you push it. You just have to be able to push it back past was it September 1st when the transfer window closes? That appeal, it's all about timing right now, and I believe time is on Chelsea's side in that regard, so you get it past this transfer window. You get this transfer window, it makes financial sense for Chelsea to sell Eden Hazard, get something in, and that way, whatever you get, it will be a knockdown prize because he's only got a year left, but it's better than nothing. You use that to stock your dressing room for the next 2 years when you can't.
What if you can't? What if you can't? What if they...
Well, listen,
I guarantee they can.
Really?
Well, listen,
I guarantee it.
You've got to look at it from Eden Hazard's point of view, right? You talk about time is on their side. Time is not on Eden Hazard's side, right? Trust me, if he doesn't make this move to Real Madrid this summer, he's probably not going to make that move to Real Madrid because in just over a year's time, they'll have moved on to somebody else, be it Neymar, be it Mbappe, or the next new kid on the block. And he's a year older. How do you know he's not going to pick an injury up? So, as much as he... And I think Chelsea... I don't know about Chelsea fans. He's been a good servant to that football club. He's been there quite a while. He's played very, very well for them. And I think if he wants to make that move to Real Madrid, and I think he should, then he has to make it this summer. Because I think if he says... Nobody will give you a guarantee. Oh, yeah, don't do it now. Because everybody moves in different directions. If he doesn't make it now, I don't think he'll ever get that move to that club.
And on top of it, he already stayed last year, where maybe he wanted to go. You can't force a player to stay if he doesn't want.
That's what a contract's for, though, isn't it?
Yeah, but the contract.
Yeah, but then the player becomes awkward.
You are talking about humans, and if he doesn't want to stay, he might be able to put the mess in the dressing room. So it's better for Chelsea to let him go. Like any players, if any player doesn't want to stay at the club, you better sell him than to keep him because it doesn't serve the club and doesn't serve the team and the spirit of the dressing room. So if he wants to go, he already wanted to go. He made an effort and he stayed, and he was good, as you said. He's been good. You have to let him go.
Just a reminder, we are always here late every day answering your questions. You can tweet us in at ESPN FC. You can catch up with some of our old extra times as well on our YouTube channel. Every time Gareth Bale touched the ball in Real Madrid's match at the weekend, he was whistled royally, pretty much, from most of the Bernabeu fans. Obviously, they want him out, and it's interesting as well, Zinedine Zidane hasn't been particularly backing him in press conferences either. But just from a play...
Well, that's not a surprise.
Well, why not?
Because he was clearly not in the Gareth Bale camp in the season. That they won the Champions League and Bale scored that overhead kick. But he hadn't been playing much that year, and there was a clear rift between coach and player then. And by the way, even though he wasn't playing as much then, he was playing better than he is now.
Yeah.
So, you know, I don't think Zidane's going to back a player that he doesn't want to keep.
Right. And even then, after the final, when Bale scored, he came out and was saying that, well, I have to rethink my future. So he clearly wasn't overly enamoured with Zidane as a coach himself.
From a player's perspective, does it matter that you get booed by your own fans?
Yes.
When you're getting paid more than pretty much any other footballer in the world?
Getting booed by opposing fans and getting stick is players, top players just go, I don't care. I can tell you though, it only happened to me at one club. And when Derby County started struggling in the Premier League, really struggling in my third season, Jim Smith had been sacked with a lot of young guys, and the fans, I remember we lost at Middlesbrough 5-0, and I went to take corners where they were booing me. It was like, because I was the captain. And when that happens over a couple of games, it affects your mentality, affects your confidence over a period.
Definitely. It happened to me once at Stamford Bridge after the sacking of Gianluca Vialli. When you came on, you play, it was a European Cup game, and you booed because the fans thought it was my fault if Vialli was sacked. It hurts you. Right. It hurts you because that's not supposed to be that way. You can be booed and you don't care. It can even give you a stamina when you are booed by the away fans. But from your own fans, it's hard.
So do you think this will affect him going forward? Because he knows wherever he'll go, he's going to have to take a pay cut. He's got a big contract at Real Madrid, where his agents say he's not going anywhere. Does this prove to be a tipping point in that decision-making process?
Yes, I don't see how it doesn't. Listen, I understand that you're sitting on a very large wage, and I'm not sure there are any other clubs in world football willing to pick that up, especially given his performances of late. But you cannot stay in that kind of environment. Otherwise, you're just labelled quite simply as a mercenary, because there's no other way to put it. And I'm not sure how or why you let that contract run out, as much money as you make, and then somehow try to resurrect a career at the end of it. I think it becomes doubly hard on Gareth Bale in that respect.
Meanwhile, of course, big game on Wednesday. Manchester United against Manchester City. City are big favourites going into that clash at Old Trafford. Join us tomorrow. Mark Ogden's here to look ahead to that game. Atalanta, a big win for them, moving up to 5th in the table. Level on points now with AC Milan, with 5 matches remaining. And you can see what all that means. So Norwich can get caught, as we mentioned, but the goal difference means they'll be fine. Sheffield United, 3 points clear with a brilliant goal difference advantage as well. You feel that one win for them would be enough to see them in the Premier League next season. And Leeds now join West Brom, Villa and Derby County in those playoff places. Welcome into extra time.
Right, before we start, no, it's not anything that we're lined up for you. I got to bring this up because I saw, where are we now? April. Certainly the greatest tweet of the year so far. We're not long into the year, but I have to bring this up. Someone on Twitter who follows Arsenal, and at least 10,000 followers, you know what I'm going to say?
Yeah.
Tweet it out today that Mustafi is having a better season than Virgil van Dijk. And then backed it up with stats.
Where did you get the stats?
I don't know. However, some of the stats were he's made more tackles and blah, blah, blah. Which, honestly, and some of the people believe that.
Yeah, that's reason to lose
particularly after the game. Not that it would have
point.
mattered if Mustafi had the greatest game ever in the history of the game against Crystal Palace yesterday. It wouldn't have made a difference. But he actually didn't.
Yeah.
So even if he was man of the match yesterday and scored a hat-trick and kept out... How the hell... And the person prefaced it by saying, I know this is not a popular opinion. And can you imagine, though?
Yeah.
If Mustafi was in that Liverpool defence, you know, how many points they'd be clear of Man City at the moment?
This may not be a popular opinion. I'll have Frank now before Mustafi.
Yeah, I love
right now.
Yeah.
Who's Frank now?
Wow.
No, I don't want to make any comment. I know, sometimes for the fans, love is blind.
But can you?
Yes.
But can you? That's just the point. I mean, there are people out there who believe this utter nonsense.
Where is Stevie?
We don't want to know.
I can tell you where Stevie is as we're answering this tweet right now.
Yeah.
I don't know what time you're going to be watching this clip, but right now as I'm talking, he's picking up the dogs.
Right.
From the Grimmers.
Okay.
You sure?
There you go.
and he's paying for those aforementioned goals, and he's going, bloody hell!
Next question. Can Prime Craig and Frank walk into the current Chelsea 11?
Ooh.
That's a good question. I think probably yes.
Well, probably Frank. But what I would say is, you know...
yeah, you could, Frank.
In your prime?
In your prime?
In my prime?
Yeah.
You could walk backwards
Of
into that
course.
starting 11.
Well, what I would say is,
into
you know,
that
we both
starting
played...
11.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, you'd walk
I
in that
think,
team.
yeah, defensively, this season,
Yes.
I could, yeah.
And Craig?
No, listen, Well, what I'm saying is Chelsea's midfield haven't been great, but we played in a team that had, you know, Frank played at the back with good players. I played in midfield with Roberto Di Matteo,
Dennis Wise,
Dennis Wise, Gianfranco Zola was
Dan
playing.
Petrescu. Sometimes.
So, you know, I don't know, but those players are not better than what,
Yep.
and those possessions are not better than what we had.
Chelsea got quite a few injuries at the moment. So.
Listen,
They
this
would need
Chelsea
us.
team without Eden Hazard is bang average. By their standard.
Yeah, but does that answer the question if they can get in the team?
It does.
Well, I
In
don't
my
think,
mind, it
well,
does.
listen,
No
the other thing I
question.
say, I don't think Barkley and Kovacic, who have had a lot of game time, would have got a lot of game time
No.
in our team.
No.
We had other problems at different positions, like centre half.
Yeah.
But I don't.
Did Frank talk as much when he was with you as he does with us?
Frank talked from the first minute Frank walked into the training ground at Harlington.
The thing is that when I came, I saw the Chelsea players. The two first Chelsea players that I saw were Jordan Spencer and Dennis Wise. And I said, wow, we're going to have a problem in corner kicks.
Sure.
Oh, yeah, they were short.
There was a comment I've said this year.
They're just a little bit taller than you, Dan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unnecessary.
I tell you what, in that team, you could have been a centre half.
Yeah.
There was not a day went past in training, and I have to paraphrase this a little bit
Yeah.
for TV purposes. There was not a day went past in training when during the training games, somebody had to turn around to Frank and say, "For God's sake, shut up!" Because he was during the
He
football.
was sat here during a break talking, and we were like, who are you talking to?
Yeah, sure.
We were watching the Chelsea game against Burnley.
I feel alone here.
We were watching the Chelsea game against Burnley, and I reckon the first half, Frank talked from the first minute to the 45th. And then
I'm commentating.
he went and had a meeting with our boss, and then during the second half, and we were like,
Silence. Silence.
Yeah.
Who's the better striker?
the answer is he talked a lot, and he still does.
Who's the better striker, Higuain or Benzema?
Oh, Benzema. Benzema kicked Higuain out of the Real Madrid, and he saw so many strikers coming to Real Madrid, but he stayed at the position. Yeah, for me, the far more better striker than Higuain.
Do you
Although
mention...
Nico hates him.
Yeah, Nico's got a thing against Benzema, hasn't he? I
I don't know why.
what it is.
I mean, he's played. Is he ever going to play for France again?
No, it's over. As long as Didier Deschamps is the coach, you never see anymore.
Yeah, you're not struggling for players, are you?
No, we're good. We're okay.
Got a couple to fill in.
Yeah, that's all right.
Do United have any chance of signing high-profile players without Champions League football?
It'll take a lot of money.
Yeah.
Which United have, to be fair to them. But
So do Real Madrid.
yeah, other things being equal, no. There's unless you're just making so much money, so much more money at United than anywhere else, I don't see why, as a top-notch player, you choose United.
No way. Really is no way. Can you name a player, even for crazy amount of money, who would like to come to Manchester United right now? I made the same conclusion in another level with Marseille right now. Nobody wants to come to Marseille. The Marseille fan, they want big names. Now, they can't get big names because nobody wants to
United's
go
not
there.
Marseille.
Yeah, but of course. That's why I added
I don't know.
another
I don't know
level.
why
But
you
if
bringing
you
Marseille
if you
into
were
the
listening to me,
why is Marseille being brought into the
because I don't
conversation?
want to. People think that I hate Manchester United. It's difficult for Manchester for any player. No, I don't.
Oh, he's stuck. Hey, get this on tape. Stuck for words. Stuck for words. Now listen, the trouble is to get big names, you've got to get a really big one to start the ball rolling.
Yeah.
Because players will ask, well, who are we signing?
Right.
Yeah, of course.
You don't just go there on your own and, you know, change the fortunes of that club on your own. You'll have to say, well, who are you bringing in?
Right.
And if they've already got him and somebody else, then you've got a chance. But the problem is getting that initial player.
What about Gareth Bale, for example? What if they got Gareth Bale from Real?
I think United's problems are more than just that initial player. anybody, if somehow you get that initial player, and anybody else who is a top shelf player, they're looking at what Alexis Sanchez is making.
Right.
And everybody's coming there and saying, I want Alexis Sanchez money at the very least.
Sure.
And how many of those players, listen, I know Manchester United are a big club and have a lot of money, but how many of those players can you carry or put on long-term contracts? I'm not sure.
You had a chance to go to Man City at the moment, or go to Liverpool, or go to Man United, you'd go to the two at the top.
Even if United paid you more?
Well, then it comes down
Depends
to...
on how much more.
Then it comes down to what, if it's just about the money. I don't know.
That is it. We're back tomorrow. Frank,
not-
your last day with us tomorrow.
I'm not coming in.
Yes, if you allow me to speak a little bit. Because I've been silenced too much.
Stevie's here tomorrow.
Yeah, talk to him.
With the dogs?